that something that we don't talk about too much, because we talk about the politicians, we talk about the judges and everything else. But I'm going to tell you that my greatest disappointment perhaps has been in the church. The church is afraid to talk about the issue of divorce. The church has compromised itself. You go to a pastor and you ask a pastor for help, and the pastor says, well, we really can't do anything. In fact, one of the individuals, the person who married me, was the one who tried to profit off of the divorce. And I have nothing but disrespect for him. You bring it to the church, and the church says, well, they kind of like him and ha around the issue. I'm sorry, but if you are a minister of God and if you are following the teachings of Jesus, get a backbone. I remember this one cartoon with Gary Larson, who did The Far Side, or I think, but he had this cartoon that had all of these chickens with no spine, on the road, and they're just all laying down and their heads are this way and that way. And unfortunately, that's the way sometimes our spiritual leaders are. We need to have people with a backbone that says, no, this is not going to take place. We need to have people that would say, to the elders, I'm sorry, you know what? You're an elder. You divorced your wife. You are not part of the elder board. We've compromised our own standards, because sometimes the people that contribute the most money to our church or contribute the most money to our political party, we have to find a way to excuse them lest they cut off the spigot of funds. That is a bunch of nonsense. We need to be able to take a stand that is a principled stand that does not involve the whole idea that, we have to show favor because he or she is rich and is supporting us along the way.
Absolutely. We got something in here from Shay Bergsky. She said they only want to help single moms. It's crazy, because I was talking to Carnell Smith not long ago, and he's a paternity fraud expert. And he's seen many people that raise children and come to find out later on they weren't theirs. I've even heard of pastors. They found out years later that the child that they was raising, and they was a pastor, that wasn't their kid. It's sick what we're going through these days. It really is. That could be a whole nother conversation. Again, you got the son and grandson of pastors right here. When it comes to churches and some of the organized religions and what they're doing, if we take it from a biblical perspective, in Jesus, he went to the streets and found people. He laid his hands on them. He prayed for the sick. He helped the ones that needed help. He didn't make these big buildings and do a lot of this other stuff that they're doing. And he didn't turn the other cheek when somebody needed help. One thing I can say about my dad, he never took a salary as a pastor. Mm-hmm. And marriage was an important topic for him. When he saw a marriage about to break, he would go and sit there for hours and hours and hours saying, let's try to find some common ground. And I think that's the making of a good pastor. My dad wasn't the greatest preacher, but when it came to being a pastor, he was the man. And it's somebody I've really tried to model myself after. I'll never be the man that he was. But man, it's one of those, I wish they would do a little bit more when it came to marriages, because it's like the blind leading the blind. And if you're not going to stand up for what you believe, what are you there for? What are you there for? Getting to the grandparents.